Please stay tuned for a short word from our ad partner.
I'm so glad you're here to check out my new Epic water filter pitcher. Let's look at it together. You just put the water in the top reservoir and it filters out chemicals like fluoride, chlorine, and lead.
This pitcher has a 10-cup reservoir and it has a 150-gallon filter capacity.
It has a counter on the lid that lets you know when you need a new filter. And these filters last approximately 5 months with just one person using it. But this is something you can definitely take on the road with you. Keep your environment safe from those plastic water bottles and dispense fresh filtered water whenever you need it. This is the Epic water filter and I highly recommend them. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Steel City Mukbang Variety Pod. I am your host, Tara Molina, also known as T-Rex. And if you see me on the street, feel free to call me that. Why? It is better than being called Auntie. All right, guys. Thank you again, like I said, for coming back to another episode. I took a poll on my TikTok page and I asked, what would you like to hear? And the second highest topic was LGBTQIA and spirituality. The gay community and spirituality was the second highest. The first was relationships. So this is all going to end up tying in together over the next couple episodes. First, I want to show you a book that I wrote back in around 2004. This is God's Other Children, A Spiritual Journey in Gay Life by yours truly. And this book just chronicles my experience struggling to get out of the closet. First, before the struggle to get out of the closet was the struggle to not even be gay. You know, the wondering why and asking God and just feeling confused and scared and just not how a child should be. You know, shouldn't have that type of pressure. Why are you saying a child? Well, because I was 8 years old when I realized that I liked girls. So at first I wasn't confused about it. You know, I didn't feel any type of way at all. I thought it was totally normal. I thought it was normal. And this book talks about how normal I thought it was. And I'm going to just give you that brief little tidbit from this book. And then I'm going to ask that you please go to Amazon and purchase it. It is on Amazon. Just put me in the search bar on Amazon and you will find it. But I knew at the age of 8, and because I had not heard about it, no one discussed anything. I was a kid, so I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, because I just liked somebody. I thought someone was cute. It just happened to be a girl. No problem. I didn't realize that people viewed it or deemed it as something wrong. There was something wrong with you. I didn't realize that. I didn't even realize the undertone homophobic comments coming from my mother about other people. I just didn't make that connection. I didn't put the two together until it was me. Until it, so at first I thought nothing of it. My first memory of realizing something was wrong, according to everyone else, was in school. And I noticed in, second grade that I was attracted to girls, and I was especially attracted to my second grade teacher. And I know people will say, oh, most little girls have an older woman they look up to. You must not have heard me. I said I was attracted to girls as well, not just the teacher. But all the little boys loved the teacher, and so did I. And one day we were all at recess and just playing like kids do at recess. I was playing touch football with the boys while the little girls were running around somewhere playing tag and jumping rope. That just wasn't my thing. I wanted to play touch football, go Steelers, with the boys. And so when recess was over and the teacher called us back, we all kind of just gathered around her to wait to go back in to the building. And one of the little boys yelled out, Mrs. Ryan, not her real name, Mrs. Ryan, I love you. Because she was beautiful. She was a very beautiful woman. And then another kid yelled out, me too, I love you too. Now, these are all little 8-year-old boys. And they all kind of just chimed in all together, and everybody's saying, like, yeah, me too, me too, me too. That it was like a group effect then. A little choir broke out after the first bold kid. And after the noise died down a little bit, I just stood there thinking of what I could say. So when the noise died down a little bit, I said, yeah, Mrs. Ryan, tell your husband I'm a lesbian. I really didn't even know the impact of that word. I'm not even sure where I heard that word or even knew what it meant. I didn't hear it in my house. I don't even know. It was like, I don't remember where I picked that word up. I just don't. I couldn't tell you if you offered me $1 million right now. All I know is I yelled it out in front of all these kids and in front of the teacher. And that's when I realized something is wrong. I'll never forget this. I will never, ever in my life ever forget this. The teacher went like this. And she had the biggest smile on her face behind her hands. Like that. And I'm looking like, okay. But then when I looked around at all the kids, they were like, ooh, disgusting. What did you just say? And I'm like, what? What? And it kind of just ended right there. And we all went back in the building and it was never brought up or spoken of again. But I would say maybe, at some point during the year, my teacher and her family relocated. They were relocating to Florida. And this is the same teacher. And she kept in touch with me. It's kind of like she knew I would need that type of support. She was a very sweet, kind lady. It was kind of like she wrote me. We wrote each other for at least, I'm going to say at least a half of a year. We communicated back and forth by mail. Just idle. How are you? How's school? And, and me responding back. but it was kind of like it was her way of showing support for me. That's how I felt. That's how I took it. But she never mentioned anything about what I blurted out. And that was that story. That's the first funny story that you'll find in this book. And then it goes on. It's a small book. It's a good read and it's a small book. So that's where it began. Second grade of me owning it out loud to everybody. And then realizing I shouldn't have. And then tying it all together with some of the undertone slurs that I heard my mother say. It's like, oh, okay, I'm getting it now. This is definitely not something I should be doing. And I could probably get in trouble for the way I feel and people think I'm crazy. So I better not say anything else, like ever. And when it was time to start dating, you just start dating the gender that is going to provide the most cover, for lack of a better word. And that would have been boys. So that's how you do what you have to do to survive. That's what I'm going to say. You do what you have to do to survive. So that's how it started. From there, it was all downhill. It was all downhill. Because I began to feel worse and worse and unsettled within and became reckless as a young adult, just reckless. I don't know. I did everything that you can imagine a reckless person would do. Okay. I won't even get into it that deep right now. But everything that you would think that a reckless person that is in some type of inner battle turmoil would do, I did it. And that was all between the ages of 18 and 38. I was 38 before I came out of the closet. Remember now, 8 when I found out what my sexual orientation really was and what it really meant. 8 years old. And I want to stop there and say, never molested. Never even discussed, really. No exposure to it. No exposure. It was just there, as if it was planted, as if it was born in me. I had the full family unit, mother, father, siblings, grandmother, grandfather, uncle. Everybody was it was just a normal family. That was it. Just a normal family. No traumas, no nothing. Thank God, because so many kids do have a lot of trauma. So I didn't have any of that. I was just carrying the gay gene and trying to survive for 30 years in hiding. I'm lucky I survived because the reckless behavior is not the type that you usually survive. You usually don't survive that. But that included the battle with God, and being mad at him because he wouldn't remove it. And you're God and you say it's wrong, or everybody tells me that you say it's wrong, and I'm asking you and at times telling you to remove this. If it's wrong, remove it, because I'm going through hell. Take it away. Take it away. Take the gay away. Never happened. Kept running, kept hiding, kept just battering my body. And then I started getting into reading the Bible because I needed to know, like, if God is this God of love that I thought he was, then why is he condemning people to hell and doing all other types of stuff throughout the Bible that just didn't seem godlike? Like, really? And let me read this Bible for myself. So I read the Bible cover to cover, all the Bible bashing verses, and I'm like, well, yeah, it really does say that there. I just don't, it just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. It wasn't a choice. I didn't even think about it. It was just an automatic thing. It was an automatic feeling, like a so natural feeling. Natural. And covering and hiding behind men felt unnatural. It did not feel right to me. But I did it because otherwise people were going to just bash me to death. And that would probably have been the last push that I needed to go over the edge, to have people start bashing me, harassing or whatever would have happened. So I just hid. That's how I ended up married. That's how I ended up with a son. People wonder how you're gay. How do you have a son? This is how it happens. This is how it happens. And yeah, I did care about these people. They were human beings, and we were together with somebody we were with all the time. So yes, I did love the guys that I ended up marrying or dating or whatever. But it didn't feel right. It wasn't a comfortable feeling. It wasn't a relaxed feeling. It wasn't a settled feeling. It was just having someone around that you really like and you have fun with and have somebody to go out with, but you still feel unsettled. Like there is something missing. There's something missing. That's how that felt. And that's how that happens. Yeah, so the Bible reading of 3 years, need a little drink. Bible reading of 3 years, and the still being confused. I started looking for churches that were all affirming churches. I found a couple of those and joined those. And this was right before coming out of the closet. I mean, like a month before, looking for this church because I knew I was going to have to come out the closet. I just couldn't take it anymore. Plus, as an adult, there was a woman that I met and she was gay, and I'm pretending that I'm not, and I really liked her. And at that point, it was like, you know what? Fuck it. The way I was able to get out of the closet was to sit down and ask myself, over prayer, who does anything for you? What does society do for you? Do they pay your bills? No. Do they take care of you when you're sick? No. Do they put food on your table? No. Do they talk to you when you need someone to talk to? No. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If if society doesn't do any of that for me, why am I ruining my life for them? Because it's because of them that I'm hiding and feeling miserable. I'm hiding and damaging myself because of society. I'm doing it for them because that's what they wanted. That's what they said it should be like. I'm doing all that for them, ruining my entire life. And all these no's over here that they're not doing anything for me. That's when I kicked the door off of the closet, kicked it off, and came out in full rainbow, live and in living color. Continued going to church. And how I feel about those Bible verses. This is where the spirituality part comes in. Because God was always a part of my life. I went to church as a little kid. I was taken to church and I prayed all the time. So it was a normal part for me to just continue on in adult life with God and just accept the fact that this was how I am, and to live life another way as a straight person was a lie. It was a flat out lie, masquerade, disguise, which is not pleasing to God. Lying to yourself when He knows who you really are and what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not hard to understand. It's really not. If you want to understand, you'll understand. So it's like, well, God, here I am. Nothing bad happened. I love someone who is the same sex as I am, but you already knew this was going to happen because it had happened. It was happening when I was 8 years old. Not any type of intimate relationships, but just the thought of the attraction of two girls. That's it. God knew all that all along, and I'm playing like I'm hiding it. That's it. Playing like I'm hiding it. So once I did that, once I opened that closet door and told God, well, I'm accepting who I am. I'm accepting who I am. That's it. This is me. If they say you're going to send me to hell for it, then if that's what you have to do, then go ahead. I asked you to change me, help me change, and you didn't. So if the alternative is that you're going to send me to hell, go ahead. And in my mind, I'm thinking, God is not that type of God. That's not God. That's not God is going to send you to hell for something that you can't help, for something that I believe He put into your body at birth. So I read about the translation of the Bible and why some of those verses say what they say. And when I found out, that the Bible had been retranslated by man so many times, I started to look at it differently. Now, people would say to me, but the Bible was written by men and women who got messages and downloads from God, and God was telling them what to say and what to put in the Bible, so it's God's word. I'm like, well, yes and no, because God was downloading His word to men who are not gods, who are imperfect, because there is no perfect human being. other than Jesus Christ. God was making downloads to these imperfect men who were capable of doing the same thing that any other imperfect person is capable of doing, including being deceitful, lying, uh, adultery, murder, and putting into the Bible what they wanted to say. It's possible. In fact, I have some notes here, and this is where I'll probably be reading some of this stuff, but this is one of the key turning points in Bible history during its translation. It was during the Emperor Constantine the Great rule of the Roman Empire. And that was from 306 to 337 AD. And during his reign, significant events took place in Christian history. The First Council of Nicaea, which is Turkey, the country of Turkey today, convened to settle theological disputes, especially concerning the nature of Jesus Christ and his divinity. The council also addressed the Arian controversy, which questioned whether Jesus was divine or created. Out of the debate came the Nicene Creed, affirming that Jesus Christ was both fully divine and fully human, a cornerstone of Christian belief. Constantine himself did not rewrite the Bible, but he did, however, order 50 copies of Christian scriptures for use in churches across Constantinople. These efforts helped standardize the scriptures that would become the Christian canon. But the formal canonization process continued for centuries after his reign. So basically, they took just 50 scriptures. They took 50 copies of the Christian scriptures and tweaked them and made them how they needed to make them. They even removed books from the Bible, like the book of Enoch, the book of Mary, all removed from the Bible. These books were added to what is called the Apocrypha, which is the last books of the Bible, which they don't say they were removed from the Bible. They just say they were not included. What is the difference? What's really the difference there? You had it, but you did not include it. So therefore, it was removed from God's actual word. That casts doubt. What I believe the Bible is now versus what I thought it was before I studied it, and I even dabbled in the Apocrypha a little bit. I didn't completely read it. I just read some of the books and chapters. Not even close to all. But doesn't that cast doubt? I believe what the Bible is now, as an adult, at the later stages of my life. It is a book of inspiration. It is a book of God's word. And it is a book of some man-made entries. So how do I know what makes me know what parts of the Bible are God's word and what parts are the ones that Constantine and his boys put in there or didn't put in there. I look at it as if it sounds godly, then that part is probably God's word. No doubt, it would be God's word. And the parts that make it a story are the man-made parts. This is the fiction story. Yes, I said it. I believe there is fiction in the Bible. I do. It was tampered with. It was tampered with. They burnt a man at stake for trying to translate the Bible without church approval, and that was William Tyndale. When he started trying in 1525 to translate the Bible from Latin into English, but he did it without church approval, and the church was having a fit. And now this was like 1,000 and almost 1,700 years after Constantine. So in between Constantine and 1,600 years, 1,700 years later than William Tyndale, what was going on with the Bible during that time? All the translations and retranslations. The word homosexual did not appear in the Bible until 1946. 1946. You know how many people born in 1946 are still right here with us right now? It wasn't that long ago. That was when they put the word homosexual into the Bible. So, yes, I believe the Bible is God's word, but I also believe it is a book of inspiration and a book of some man-made things that were meant and put in there to control and scare society, especially during slavery. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there, but I just want to say that it was used as a control tool. William Tyndale had to go into exile to be able to translate the Bible without the church approval. Just in my opinion, I believe the church wanted, everyone to get approval so that they could govern what the translation would be into that specific language. Like when it was translated from German to English or Hebrew to English or Roman to English, the church had a part of all of that. Meaning they could say what went in it and what didn't. But William Tyndale wasn't going to go for it. So he went into exile and tried to translate it from Latin to English without the church's approval. He was turned in by a dear friend. A friend like this, you don't need any enemies. He was turned in by a dear friend, captured, put in jail for a year, and then burned at the stake for his attempts to translate without the church having its input. If this was going through court, I can't see how the burden of proof would be met. I don't see that. So I believe that the majority of the Bible is God. I do. I only think that it is a small portion that has been tainted. But those small portions that were tainted has changed the lives of millions over the years. Millions and millions and millions of people over the years. Just those little tiny passages. So that's where I stand. That's why I am comfortable in myself as a gay spiritual person. I am no longer calling myself a Christian because of what Christianity has developed into the people that are involved in that religion. Not all people. Not all people. There are some Christians out there who are just a step away from Jesus. There are. But then there are some Christians out there who are the devil himself. And not just a step away from the devil. They are the devil himself. And still will stand there and call themselves Christian. So I disassociated with being called a Christian, yet and still I am a follower of Jesus Christ. Just don't call me a Christian. I have my own spiritual relationship with God and the Trinity. And I know who my higher power is, and I know who my creator is, and that is that. I don't need to be associated by name with any specific groups or religions. This is my opinion, this is my belief, and it is how I came back from the brink of destruction for my own self. This is how I got back from there. By coming out, being true to God, letting him know that I had accepted myself, and showing it and proving that I did, and knowing that he is my higher power and has my back no matter what color I am, no matter whether I'm gay, and no matter whether I'm trans, bi, whatever. God has your back. God has your back. He definitely does. And you may view God as in another being. God is energy. He's energy. So if you see God as something other than I see God, as long as you know that it is the same being that is the creator of the universe. That's all that matters. People want to hate people of other religions because they call God Buddha, or they call God Allah. You want to hate these people, but their God really is the same God we're thinking of. The same God that you want to call God, or El Shaddai, or Elohim, or same God. It's the same one. Yeah. Hate to break it to you. You're hating your brother in other religions because you think their God is not yours, but he is. Well, guys, I am going to jump from here. I thank you for joining me for another episode of Steel City Mukbang Variety Pod. I hope you enjoyed this show today. We will be back. We're going to talk some more about the LGBTQ community, and we'll get in probably to the relationship part of it next. And don't forget, head over to Amazon and grab this book, God's Other Children, A Spiritual Journey in Gay Life. Put me in the search engine. It'll come right up for you. As always, please be sure to check out my description box. I have a bunch of good links in there from some of my partners for this podcast. It's so important that you check them out for me because it helps me power this podcast financially. So please check out some of my partners, and also check out my Shopify store, which also helps power this podcast. I will see you again soon, and I appreciate you as always.